You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Bay Area, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for Murph and Mac on KMBR. And tonight, the Giants shut out for the first time in the 2024 season as they fall to the San Diego Padres 4-0. Despite the 4 runs, Keaton Winn actually pitched pretty well in this one, although that's not what the box score is going to tell you. We'll break that down a little bit later in this one. And Michael King showed you tonight why the Padres wanted him back so bad in that Juan Soto trade with the Yankees, and he had dominant stuff on the hill all night long. And we got to have a discussion. Mike Yastrzemski, Luis Matos, we got to talk about it. And we'll get into all of this. But first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports Bay Area YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed, please do so. Hit that subscribe button right now. If you're getting us on the Locked On Giants podcast feed, appreciate you tuning in there. However you're getting the show, we appreciate you guys. It's not a show if you guys aren't tuning in. So, of course, love when you guys chime in the comments. Appreciate you guys and everything that you do for us. And of course, check out the daily Locked On Giants show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a phenomenal job, and we're going to try and wrangle him on Monday after the Blake Snell debut, much anticipated. So stay tuned for that one. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. All the scoring in this one came in the top of the first. So if you turned this one on late, you missed all of the scoring, all of the runs. And they all came in one swing of the bat. That first inning, the top of the first was clunky inning for Keaton. And it wasn't entirely his fault. That first batter of the game, Xander Bogaerts, hits like a little weak flare pop up into shallow center field. And, 6:15 start this time of year. That sun is setting right behind home plate, and it is very, very, very tough for outfielders to get a read on that ball off the bat. The batter's in the shadows, the pitcher's in the sun, so it's a very tough transition to pick up that ball once it disappears into the shadows and it comes back out from them in flying into the outfield. And then you got to battle the sun while you're trying to find it. It's tough, man. It's a very tough play. It looked like a shallow can of corn, but it's really not that simple in those types of situations. Jung-Hoo Lee got a very bad beat on that ball. One of the only times I've seen him kind of lose a ball this year. And he didn't get there in time. Nobody got there in time. So it falls in between 4 Giants defenders. And you think, okay, well, they'll get that cheapy one and we'll move on here. And, gets 2 more outs. Manny hits a grounder that sneaks by into the outfield. And then a 2-out walk to Ha-Seong Kim. That's key. That's key. Because how often do we say you can't be giving up free 90s? Those turn into runs. And what happens? Next batter with 2 outs, Jurickson Profar, who, by the way, is one of my least favorite Padres. There were multiple times last year when he was like John with fans and saw him pick up a ball. And I know the net's there, so he's not going to be able to actually hit anybody. But he kind of fired a ball at the net, when he was getting into it with a fan, he was going to throw the ball at the fan. Just weirdo behavior by Jurickson Profar last season that I saw from him at Oracle. But anyways, one of my least favorite Padres hits that 4-run bomb, grand slam over the right field wall. And I really didn't think that ball was getting out of there. I actually very lucky was able to go to the yard tonight. In this one, I was sitting right down the first baseline. So I had a pretty good view of that ball off of the bat. And as it was heading towards the wall, I thought, this is Oracle Park. This ball's not getting out. That wasn't the best contact I've ever seen out here. And there's been balls that I've seen hit a lot harder that didn't carry out of here. And sure enough, this ball just keeps carrying and just flies on out of here. I was shocked, honestly, to see that ball leave the yard. It did not sound like a home run off the bat. It didn't look like a home run off the bat, at least to me in the yard. Same with the people I was sitting with. They felt the same way. And speaking of the people I was sitting with, man, I couldn't believe this myself, but I'm sitting there pregame with my buddy Dan, who brought me to the game. Shout out Dan Dempster, fellow Cal Poly alum and NBC guy. We were sitting down the first baseline, and he leans over and goes, "Hey, man, I think that's Jung Hoo Lee's family sitting 4 seats away from us. And sure enough, it was. It was his mom, his dad, some other family members there too. I couldn't help myself. I popped over in between innings and said, hey, I just want to say hi. I don't want to bug you guys, but like really glad that you and your family are here, and just wanted to say thanks and hi and appreciate you guys. And like, it was fun to watch Jung Hoo play in center field in this one tonight. He had a nice catch at the wall, and he didn't really do a lot at the plate. This is only the second time that he has not reached base in a game. His batting average falls down to about 200, but he's still hitting the ball well. He's just not finding those holes. That hard contact isn't quite translating into base hits yet, but you got to assume that will level itself out. So the Giants didn't really have much offense in this one. They got 4 hits, and they couldn't really string anything together. Didn't draw a ton of walks, got 3 walks in this one and 5 strikeouts. So they didn't strike out a ton either. But this was weird. This was something that we haven't seen from the Giants yet. No shutouts this season. This is the first time, and their offense just seemed quiet. They couldn't really string much together, and that's the first time that we've seen that from the Giants this season. Nobody ran into one. There wasn't a ton of hard contact in the lineup tonight. Conforto, Ofer. He did draw a walk in this one, but Conforto, Ofer, Chapman, Ofer, Soler, Ofer. You're not going to win a lot of games when those 3 guys don't get any hits. Jung Hoo Lee, Ofer. When those 4 aren't getting hits, they go a combined 15 or more. Like that's not good. That's not good. You're not going to win a lot of games in those situations. And we did say that we were going to break down Keaton Winn's game tonight. I'm going to do that a little bit later in the show, but he did pitch okay in this one. Like, yes, he gave up that grand slam, those 4 runs in that first frame, and then he settled down. Keaton Winn, ground ball pitcher, got a ton of those tonight, and he pitched okay. The bullpen really held it down in this one. The bullpen showing you some strong signs. Avila and Roop shut out the Padres in the final 3 innings of this one. 3 shutdown innings from 2 very young arms out of the bullpen. 2 guys that the Giants are going to use a lot this season, and it's going to be needed because there's a lot of new arms down there. A lot of the old guard has departed. You still got the Rogers twins down there and Duvall, of course, but you need some of these young guys to prove that they can stick with this big league squad. And I think you're seeing that from these guys on a night in, night out basis. Avila pitched 2 very strong innings at the end of this one to kind of keep the Giants hanging around. 4-run deficit is unlikely, but not impossible to overcome in the 9th. So it was nice to see those guys get out there and do their thing in this one. Some good work on the mound all around by everyone from the Giants pitching staff tonight. 4 runs is not, ideal, but it's not terrible either. With this offense, I think a night like tonight from, Keaton Winn's realistically your number 5 starter right now. I'll live with that, man. Like giving up 4 runs. That's not bad. It's not terrible. It's not the best I've ever seen from Winn, but he showed some good signs tonight. He did have an issue with walking some guys, but that's young pitchers showing that they're young still, and he's got to fill up the strike zone. Normally he does, but it just wasn't enough in this one tonight. 4-0 Padres win the Giants' first shutout. The first time that they played a night game at Oracle Park this season. First time we got to see those lights turn on. Interesting little note about those lights. They were showing off pregame that they can actually like spell things out sort of with them. Like they had the whole SF thing going in the lights above the stadium. It was fun. It was fun to be out there back at the yard. First time I've gotten to head out there this season. Obviously, I did not head out for opening day, but it was Camilo Duvall bobblehead night, and it was really fun seeing all the little skits and stuff that they had on the video board. Duvall was, he doesn't speak very good English, so they just had him speaking Spanish the whole time. He was answering questions about what his favorite Dominican word is, which, fun fact about me, I've actually traveled to the Dominican Republic like a bunch of times. I don't even know how many at this point, like 10 plus. To build houses down there with an organization called Una Vida. So shout out Una Vida. I started doing this in high school, and I have a very strong connection with that country, and I've made countless friends down there. I have a host family down there that I stay with all the time. I call them mom, dad, brother, sister. Anyways, that's beside the point. But I love my Dominican baseball. It is so electric down there to go and watch a game in the Dominican Republic. If you ever get a chance, go. Point being, Duvall's Dominican, right? And so he every skit, that's all I could think was, this guy is so Dominican. Like the way that he talks, he was talking about his favorite slang, and which is his favorite slang word is que lo que, which basically means what's up in Spanish. And you hear that everywhere down there. He's just very on brand for him. He's talking about his horse a lot in these little video skits. You can check them all out on the Giants website and on their social medias, but he's talking about his horse, and all I could think of was, man, this guy's just the relief pitcher version of Johnny Cueto. And I love all these little side stories about these players. It just humanizes them. Like the human element of the game is so fun to me. And Doval is just one of those quirky guys who he's kind of quiet, or he seems like he's kind of quiet. I went to several games last season where I poked into the clubhouse, and there were, Doval's like just kind of not really hanging out with anyone, kind of just doing his own thing, listening to music, like just kind of mellow, like cooling out in the corner. And that's just kind of the guy he appears to be. But when they were asking him all these questions, kind of seems like he might get a little crazy with his friends down in the DR. You know what I mean? Like the way he was talking about it. And then he was mentioning all his favorite things down there. And one last thing, my favorite little video board skit thing. Again, you can find all these on the Giants Twitter and website. He was talking about how to throw his cutter. And he just said, I kind of just grip it normally, and then I just throw it really hard. And I was like, yeah, man, that's all you got to do to throw, 100+ mile an hour cutters in the major leagues, is just grip it normally and just throw it really hard. Anybody can do it, man. It sounds so simple. It was pretty funny, man. It was a fun night out at the yard. Camilo Doval bobblehead night, but the Giants do ultimately fall 4-0 to the San Diego Padres in this one. Keaton Winn pitched okay. The Giants offense just really non-existent. We got to take a quick break on the other side, a little bit of a pitching breakdown on Keaton Winn's night. And later on in the show, we got to discuss Mike Yastrzemski. We got to talk about it. He made that final out there in the ninth today. I know he picked up his first hit of the season in this one, but were you inspired with confidence in that last at bat? I sure wasn't. So we'll break all that down a little bit later in the show. Stay tuned in to Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. Eat stress-free this spring with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from a weekly menu of 35 options, including popular selections like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or Vegan and Veggie. Also, discover more than 60 add-ons every week, like breakfast, on-the-go lunch, snacks, and beverages to help you stay fueled and feel good all day long. What are you waiting for? Get started today and fuel up for your springtime goals. No fuss, no mess meals. Factor meals eliminate the hassle of prepping, cooking, or cleanup. Simply heat and savor the good stuff. That works great for me because I hate dishes, man. My sink is always just piled with them. I don't have a dishwasher in my apartment. This is great for me. Tailored to your schedule, customize your weekly meals with the flexibility to get as much or as little as you need. Pause or reschedule deliveries to suit your lifestyle. Factor is your solution for fast premium meals without the need for cooking. Head to factormeals.com/LockedOnMLB50 and use code LockedOnMLB50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box. That's code LockedOnMLB50 at factormeals.com/LockedOnMLB50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box while your subscription is active. And today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Spring training is over and baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your PrizePicks entries, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs. Take your pick of more or less and add them to your PrizePicks entry today. PrizePicks has something for every sports fan, from baseball and basketball to League of Legends and everything in between. You can pick LeBron, Shohei Ohtani, I might not pick Shohei Ohtani, Connor McDavid, and Jude Bellingham all in the same entry. Maybe let's go with Jung-Hoo Lee instead of Shohei. And download the app today and use code LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use code LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. It's PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and tonight the Giants shut out for the first time in 2024 by the San Diego Padres, falling 4-0 at Oracle Park. Their first night game at home. First time we're seeing those cream unis under the lights, and man, I love those Giants home unis. They are just iconic, some of the best in all of baseball. And Keaton Winn looked pretty good out there tonight in one of them. 6 innings from Keaton and gave up 4 runs, all of them in the first inning. The 3 walks is a little high, only 1 strikeout. He's not a strikeout pitcher. And again, that 1 home run that he surrendered. All in all, not a bad night for Keaton Winn. Yes, you want to see him keep the ball in the yard, and he does most of the time. Keaton Winn is a ground ball pitcher. I mean, that is who he is. That is how he makes his money on the mound. And you know, he usually fills up the strike zone. Tonight, he just didn't fill it up as much as he normally does. It was a little bit different kind of a night for Keaton out there. He pitched okay. He wasn't he faced 22 batters. He got through the lineup a couple times. It was a serviceable outing from your number 5 pitcher. And that's what we got to keep in mind. This is the Giants' number 5 pitcher, at least until guys start to come back from injury, at which point he's probably not even going to be in the starting rotation. I mean, he'll get some spot starts, but I think he'll essentially be used as long relief later on in the year. He threw 80 pitches tonight, 55 of them 4 strikes in this one. Again, those 3 walks. So it wasn't a terrible night by him. He didn't issue a ton of walks, but the one that he did really hurt him in that first inning, the Ha-Sung Kim walk with 2 outs. So Profar could come up and hit that grand slam. Not what you want to see. It's a night when you need your offense to show up, and they just didn't tonight. The Giants really were baffled out there by Michael King. He threw 7 strong innings in this one, gave up no runs, 94 pitches. He was on it in this matchup, which is much different than we saw from King in his prior outing against the Giants, when he was a little wild and walking guys, and you could see the electric stuff, but he was just all over the place. Michael King was in that last outing tonight, settled down, gave up 4 hits, only walked 1 guy though. That was key for him tonight. 4 Ks, and he just completely shut down the Giants. The Padres did use 3 relievers to get through the end, including their closer Suarez, even though it wasn't a save situation, and they shut him down. They shut the Giants down. In the last innings of this one, the Giants couldn't pick up a hit against that bullpen. And the Giants bullpen did much of the same. The Giants bullpen did give up a couple hits, but you like what you see from Roop and Avila, these 2 young arms out of the pen. Roop has been particularly excellent this season for the Giants, and Avila hasn't been too bad either. I mean, he had a couple little blow-up innings early on in the season, but he's settling down now, and he pitched 2 solid innings in this one, looked fine through both of them. It's a good sign to see a young guy who can eat a couple innings out of the pen in a late game situation when it was still close. 4-0 isn't like a blowout game. It's not like the Padres opened up a huge lead against the Giants that was completely insurmountable. I mean, the Giants, 1 or 2 swings of the bat could have put them back into this one, and they just couldn't run into any balls tonight. Conforto cooled off, one of the first times that he's been hitless this season. He did reach base on that walk, and Chapman has been struggling a little bit. Something to note, since he had that 2 home run game with, I think, like 5 RBIs earlier in the season. So Giants kind of slumping at the dish right now. You hope that they can get back to it in the final game, in the rubber match of this series tomorrow. And, the Giants need a win. They're 3-6 now on the season, and the Dodgers are just going to run away with this division, I feel like. So I'm not even really counting where the Giants are at in the division. It's way too early. It's April. We shouldn't be worried about division standings at all, but they are playing a lot of games against division opponents to start out their season. I mean, you got 2 series, you got 7 games against the Padres in the month of March and April. Like that's a lot. That's a lot of games to play against one team this early on. You get to know them pretty well. And the Padres looked like they, couldn't really figure out Keaton Winn in after the first inning in this one. And that was very solid, very good to see him kind of bounce back from that. He could have completely fallen apart, you know? A lot of guys give up some runs, especially young pitchers give up runs early in games, and they just kind of implode. And you see them have to get yanked. You run through the bullpen, your arms get tired, which hurts you for future games. The Giants are obviously going to need some arms tomorrow as well. So you don't want to burn through your whole bullpen. It was nice to see Keaton Winn be able to bounce back from giving up 4 runs in that first inning and last a total of 6 innings in this game. You'll take it. You'll take 4 runs from your number 5 starter. Like that, it's the point I keep coming back to, and that's what I really want to drive home here. Is it's not a bad outing from Winn. It's not the best outing you'll ever get from him, but it's really not the end of the world when your number 5 starter is giving up 4 runs, especially when your bullpen's pitching the way it does. But you can't have a goose egg on offense. And the Giants, can't win all of them, can't win all 162, but you want to see a little bit more fight at the dish. The Giants still don't have a stolen base. That's not great. We were hoping this team was going to be a little bit faster on the base paths this year, and they are. They're more aggressive, but they're not, there's more that they can do to start generating some runs. Maybe there were a couple opportunities that I thought they could have maybe tried to play some small ball and lay down a bunt or two. Third base was leaving that bunt wide open down the line. I saw Jung-Hoo Lee batting with Manny playing way deep at third, and I thought maybe you could just lay one down here. So who knows? Maybe the Giants need to start doing some of the small ball things like stealing bases and bunting a little more to kind of break out of this slump. But they are hitting the ball pretty well, pretty solid contact. You just hope that some of those hits eventually get through and get some run support for your guy Keaton Winn. You can't shout out Matt Cain right behind me on the stream. You can't be Matt Caning guys out there every night. Let's get some run support for our pitching staff. We got to take a quick break in this one, but on the other side, we got a big discussion that we need to have. Mike Yastrzemski, yeesh, not fun lately to start this year. I know he picked up his first hit of the season in this one, but batting 071 on the season, not good. Yeah, we got to talk about it. On the other side, Mike Yastrzemski, maybe it's time to see Luis Matos, who's tearing it up down in AAA. We'll explain more on the other side on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on that 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood Gold IRA for 5 years. The 3% match on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial, LLC member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer. Whew. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. I should enunciate better. I had a friend who watches the show tell me that he thought I was just saying the word podcast funny, but no, it's postcast, as in, the post game, but like the podcast version. So that's what you're watching, the Locked On Giants postcast with me, Triple E. And, Mike Yastrzemski, been frustrating this year. Like, I've tried to give him a long ramp. Like, I know a lot of people are talking about this. A lot of people wanted to jump down Yaz in the beginning of the season when he just started off pretty cold. He finally picks up his first hit of the season in this one, and he just doesn't look right. He had that final at bat of the game in this one, but he just doesn't look like himself out there. I wanted to pump the brakes a little bit because Mike Yastrzemski does offer the Giants a very, very solid glove in right field. Playing that wall is not easy. It's tough, man. Like, balls hop off of that thing in a really funny way. Those bricks, it's not flat. Like, it has some weird spin, weird angles. He plays those balls off the wall pretty well. I mean, he He's got a decent arm out there. He adds a lot defensively, and he'll run into some, some balls. He'll hit 15 to 20 home runs if he plays enough games in a season. And we've seen Yaz have good offensive years at the dish before. We've seen it. But I mean, his at-bats are uninspiring right now. That's the word that comes to mind, is uninspiring. And you look at what Matos is doing down in AAA. He's played in 4 games, 5 hits, 12 total bases, a double, 2 bombs. He had 2 bombs in 1 game, 6 RBIs, and a walk and 2 steals, which, as we mentioned, the Giants have been lacking in their offense, an OPS of 965. I'm going to go ahead and say this. I think it's time that we see Matos come up to the big league level. He has put on so much muscle in the offseason. He is fast on defense. He's fast on the base paths, and he gives you some hustle. And I think the Giants could very, very well use some youth energy, spark, hustle type player on this team to rally these guys and get this offense hitting again. I mean, I think Matos has done enough to show the Giants that he should be the first guy that they call on out of the minors when they need an outfield replacement. And I think that it is time. I don't know, I think you can maybe send down one of your relievers. The Giants have a ton of pitchers on the staff right now, or maybe a Tyler Fitzgerald, but you do need a backup shortstop, which is another issue. I mean, Nick Ahmed has not been very inspiring at the dish either, but we're going to focus on Yaz in this one. He is batting 70, like 0.071 at the dish for Mike Yastrzemski on the season so far. He did draw a walk in this one and picked up a hit, so he was on base twice. That's good to see, but this is the first time that we've really seen Mike Yastrzemski on the base pass, and they were not very meaningful moments in the game when he did get on base in this one. So you want to see more out of your outfield. You need outfield production. How long has it been since we've been able to look at this outfield and say, that's a good group of productive hitters? It's been a while. This season's been nice so far because Lee has been pretty nice at the dish. He's been fun on offense. He's generating a lot of runs. He's getting on base a lot. Only 2 games this season that he has failed to reach base. This is the second time this season that Lee has failed to reach base. But it's the things like that are going to happen. Conforto has been on a tear tonight. He can't collect a hit at the plate. Chapman can't collect a hit at the plate. It's rough. It's rough right now in a game like that when Soler couldn't either, who he's been swinging the bat a little bit better lately as well. When you have your horses, your main offensive guys that aren't hitting, you need someone else to step up. And right now, the bottom of this order, highlighted by Mike Yastrzemski, looks weak, to be honest. You got Nick Ahmed down there. You got Tom Murphy, who's playing for Pat Bailey, and I get that. I'm not gonna complain about that. Like, Murphy is there to spell Bailey and make sure that Bailey can play games in September. I am totally fine with Pat Bailey missing some games in April to ensure that he doesn't, fall off a cliff at the end of the season like he did last year and actually contribute in September down what we're expecting is going to be a playoff push for these Giants. And I just really hope that we can maybe see Luis Matos come in soon and revamp this bottom of the lineup. Because right now, Yastrzemski, Murphy, Ahmed, your bottom 3 in the order. We talked earlier in the season about how this lineup doesn't feel like it's just got automatic outs. Well, that seems to have changed. Those 3 at the bottom of the order kind of seem like automatic outs right now, and you're not getting a lot of production from those guys. It's tough. It's really tough to get anything going. Like, it puts a ton of pressure on the top of your lineup, and it allows pitchers to kind of cruise through certain innings, conserve their arm, save pitches. And that's not good. That's not good. It doesn't lead to success. You need something from the bottom of your order. It doesn't need to be, they don't need to be the Dodgers where you're getting home run production from every single player in your lineup. You're getting, you got a lineup where you got 6-7 different guys that could be the cleanup hitter on almost any other team in baseball on the Dodgers. But that's not what the Giants are. It's not what they need. But what they do need is contributions. They need to keep hitting the ball, stay on the base paths, and I think they'll be fine. I mean, they are hitting the ball hard pretty well. They're making solid contact. Tonight, they ran into a buzzsaw on the mound in Michael King, who just had everything working for him out there tonight. In this one, he just shut down the Giants. He just shut them down. And to credit to the Padres pitching staff tonight, man. I mean, they all pitched pretty well. Bullpen came in, did their job. Giants just couldn't string anything together. Again, 4 hits in this one in the 4-0 shutout for the Giants. Keaton Winn pitched okay. He did give up 4 runs on 1 swing of the bat, that grand slam early in the first inning in this one, but settled down after that. And man, this game just blew by. It felt like, I mean, I did sneak over to the yard, as I mentioned earlier. I got about the bottom of the 6th came, and I was like, man, I've only been here an hour and I already got to go to make sure I can get back for all the people for the Locked On Giants postcast. And, you know, I wish I could have stayed longer, but just happy to get back out to the yard, man. If you guys have a chance, go out there and see it. Again, a lot of new little upgrades around Oracle Park. The lights, the little ring, like the video board ring around like the club level seatings has some new scoring bugs and graphics on it. They look really clean. It's a lot, you know, it's always a good time out at Oracle. A lot of little revamp things, and that's what keeps Oracle Park as one of the greatest ballparks in the world. I really believe this. If you're going to go see a professional sports game of any type, Oracle Park is one of the best venues all time that you could ever go see any live sporting event at. And if you have a chance to get out there, please do. You'll do yourself a favor. Go out, see a game, get yourself a nice little opening day souvenir cup or something, you know, a Camilo Doval bobblehead, something like that. Make sure you go out and have yourself a time at Oracle at least once this year, because you deserve it, man. You deserve it. So that's about all the time we have in this one. Again, the Giants fall 4-0 to the Padres, shutout for the first time in this 2024 season. Keaton Winn pitches okay. Mike Yastrzemski, uninspiring. Bring up Luis Matos. That's about all I got for you guys today. Tune in tomorrow as we're going to be coming to you live after Giants and Padres wrap up in the rubber match on the Locked On Giants postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Ingle. We'll see you then. We'll see you next time. Peace.